Hello, friends, and welcome to yet another happy half hour. That's still the name of the show, I promise. It's
happiness is relative.
And you know what? It's still the happy half hour, and it's still brought to you by our friends at Deep Eddy. And I heard all the people in the Deep Eddy suite yesterday.
Oh, yeah,
had them a big old time.
yesterday.
That was a good time, even though I think everything about yesterday's game was exciting and fun and an enjoyable experience, except for the game itself.
Right. It was a perfect day up until the third play of the game, or third play of the Saints' first drive.
It just didn't go the way you wanted it to. The Carolina Panthers are now 5-5 on the season after a 17-7 loss to the New Orleans Saints. This one was not great from the standpoint of they got taken out of the mode of football they want to play almost instantly. I mean, They went down the field, first drive, scored a touchdown. Rico safely, no pumps. He was safely within the bounds of the celebration rules, and then nothing else went right the rest of the day. And I don't think that's hyperbole.
I think, so like I said, the third play of the Saints drive, everything kind of went downhill from there. The first play was they handed it off. Alvin Kamara was kind of wrapped up real quick. Second play, Tyler Shuck was sacked by Trevin Wallace, and it's like, wow, this game is gonna go exactly how the Panthers want it to.
Yep.
The third play, it looked like they were about to sack him again. He did a little shoulder move, got out of it, found a wide open Juwan Johnson downfield. It was like 52 yards or something like that. And that's kind of how the rest of the day went.
And it went like that.
It's so interesting because, Nick Scorton kind of warned us about this last week. He was like, people keep saying rookie quarterback. He's 26 years old.
This man's 2 years older than Bryce Young.
Yeah, and so he's got a lot of experience. It wasn't at the NFL level, but he's not coming in green either. And I think you finally saw that start to come together. This was his second start in the NFL. On paper, you go rookie quarterback, second start in the NFL. Just traded away one of your top receivers, your left guard. I'm sorry. This should be a pretty standard approach for how to get to him on defense, and it's the approach they took for the entire game, pretty much. Blitz, pressure. That leaves you susceptible on the back end, and the Saints took advantage of it with 8 explosive plays, Dave Canales told us today.
Right, and there were things happening, and, we've talked about this previously this year. I remember talking about the Bills game, and I said, this is enough an outlier. You can kind of build a fence around it and call it a zoo, and just understand that it's not like everything else. This one was moving down that road because this game – so many of the components, to your point, Nick Scorton's getting pressure. There was pressure throughout the day, but the thing you don't expect is J.C. Horn falling down.
Yeah.
And you don't expect one of your best players to be on the ground looking for help for officials that wasn't going to come, and then watching Chris Olave run the other direction. That's the kind of thing that the Carolina Panthers don't expect. And there was a good bit of this in the postgame afterward. You talked to J.C. JC basically raised his hand and said, put it on me.
Yeah, he did. He said he told the defense, you all did what you needed to do. I messed up. This one's on me. Respect to JC for taking on that responsibility and ownership. It's not all on him.
No.
But to his point, there were the Saints scored 2 touchdowns. Both of them were on explosive plays that JC felt at fault for, and it's hard to argue with him. One of them you can argue should have been OPI. But JC also said that, George Lee has shown them in recent weeks that at the NFL level, they're calling that less and less. And that he can't expect the call to come. He's going to have to play through it. And that, it's a little difficult sometimes because if he plays through it too much, he might get a flag for DPI. But you've still got to play through it. And then with the Juwan Johnson touchdown as well, I think he slipped on that play as well, right? He slipped, yeah, and Johnson was open for that 30-yarder. He said he told the defense afterwards, I'm one of the leaders, I'm one of the highest paid guys on this team. That's not acceptable. That performance for me was not acceptable. And he was like, y'all keep doing what you're doing. I promise to be better. And he had a little bit of oomph to him, a little fire when he goes, I can't wait to play next Sunday.
Yeah.
I'm going to make it up to him.
It's interesting watching the reactions to this one, and it's fascinating. This led into the next thing in my notes, this immaculately prepared show rundown I did here. One of the things I wanted to bring up early in this show was the Bryce Young we saw after that game was unlike the Bryce Young we've seen after any game this season or any game in a long time, because Bryce was coming in hot. Mm-hmm. He walked up onto that stage in the team meeting room, got behind the lectern, and started answering questions almost before they were asked.
Yeah.
And he was ready to do the act of contrition, raise his hand, say, bad ball, bad read, on me, 100%. I mean, questions weren't even all the way out before he started asking them because he was so eager to do that. Bryce was hot, gang. Yeah. We don't see angry Bryce often, but we got angry Bryce after that game.
And you started to see it during the game a little because he got hit on a play and they ended up getting the guy for roughing the passer. And so it was a first down, but he got up mad. Mm-hmm. And, but then I think shortly after that might've been the interception. I'm trying to remember the link, how it went.
The bottom line is, they saw, and teammates talked about it after the game. When you see Bryce like that, it's kind of that proof of ownership. Mm-hmm. I mean, that he is used to situations where things go well. Going back to his days at Alabama, and there is some frustration when a game's going like that when they weren't getting the ball downfield. I mean, the Saints basically dared them to throw the ball, and they weren't able to make it happen. Mm-hmm. So Bryce was frustrated. It wasn't working out in the passing game. And after the game, I mean, he was foremost among the people, making sure everybody knew, along with the J.C. Horns and Derek Browns of the world, this ain't okay.
Yeah. And I do think it's interesting as well that this is now 2 weeks in a row that we've sat here and said, oh, I haven't seen that sort of Bryce in a press conference before. Because last week, that might have been some of the most confident and a little like cocky but undeserved that we've seen Bryce this week, complete 180. But to your point, you don't really see Bryce mad that often. And he was mad. Now the question is, what does he do with it?
Well,
does it snowball, or does he use that as fuel to kind of go out there and then take it out on the Falcons?
One of the things people close to me get frustrated with is my constant desire to push everything to the middle and to keep everything even and be the same guy every day. And even my wife, I love her, she was not thrilled with that game and wanted explanations for why. And you know, my short answer last night was sometimes you get the bar, sometimes the bar gets you. And that was an unsatisfying answer for my wife and for many people. I mean, you want people to care. You want people to be upset. It beats the alternative. But in talking about the big swing from last week at Green Bay was over here, now this week you're over here. 3 weeks ago at 4-4, if I said, they're going to split these next two games, right?
You would take it.
And you're going to be 5-5 at the end of those. Everybody would have been like, that kind of makes sense. I can see that happening. And nobody appreciated the path it was going to take to get to that same 5-5. So expectations mess with people. I understand that. But I do think it's instructive to see that kind of reaction, to see how much anger. And it speaks to what we've talked about over the course of this year. They've figured out their how. Mm-hmm. And yesterday they saw that ain't how.
Right.
Yesterday they were exposed as when somebody takes away 75% of our how, what do we do? Mm-hmm. And there was no answer for it yesterday afternoon. And that's why so many people were frustrated, because they've seen the good football, to use Dave Canales' term. You've seen the stuff that they can make come alive, as Canales likes to say, and it was not there yesterday.
And to that point as well, I would also say Canales seemed a little mad today. You can tell when a coach is defeated, and you can tell when a coach is motivated. And I think it was more of the latter today with Canales. He was upset. He took a lot of ownership for what happened and vowed to kind of figure out a path forward from this. Because he was like, if teams are we have to be able to be multifaceted. Like, if they're going to take away our run game, and this is a team that wants to be a running team,
right?
But you can't have no answers if a team takes that away. Mm-hmm. And there were still opportunities yesterday. There was an effort to push the ball downfield and to answer for it, and the connections didn't happen. And he kind of challenged Bryce and the receivers today, like, trust each other. Like, don't just say like, oh, this is the play that's called. This is the play I'm going to go run. Trust that it's going to happen. And that's a big part of it as well. The counterpart to that, and what's going to be interesting to see this week, is like, you don't ever want to let the pendulum swing too much the other way and go, oh, okay, if they're going to take away the run game, we have to push it downfield. And then you start searching for plays that aren't there. I don't think that'll happen. But just because of how consistent Dave Canales and Bryce Young have been, and, you know, their whole thing is like to come in and be the same every day, I don't think they would be reactive in that way. But I do think there will be a push to kind of make sure that part of the offense is capable of carrying them if teams are going to continue to try to focus on shutting down Rico, which is what the Saints did yesterday.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And Chuba talked about that a good bit yesterday. And for a guy who carried the ball 3 times in a game, you wouldn't think you'd spend a lot of time with Chuba post-game. But a couple of things happened. Number one, Chuba Hubbard became the all-time leading rusher among Canadian-born running backs. Did you know that?
I did know that. I put it in a story last night.
I know you did. It was in Inside the Numbers on Panthers.com. I know you guys have already digested all those numbers already. Passing Saints legend Reuben Mays on that list. You know who else is on the list of all-time Canadian-born running backs?
Do I get a hint?
No.
Chuba Hubbard.
Bronco Nagurski.
Oh.
How about that? Chuba Hubbard greater than Bronco Nagurski. It's just science. There's no arguing with that. But Chuba was talking, and he lived this life last year before things really got clicking second half of the year. Chuba said, listen, when it doesn't work like that, you've got to be content to take your 3, to take those grimy runs and keep running them. And I remember even in the 90s, Dom Capers used to talk about, we've got to run with tempo. That meant running Anthony Johnson into the line of scrimmage 25 times for 82 yards. That meant we're going to go for 2.7 a carry so many times we wear you out. And Chuba said eventually that does work. And when the Carolina Panthers have worked offensively, that's what it's been. It's been the run game working. It's been popping a couple runs, but it's been that steady beat, that rhythm of the offense working, allowing things to get open down the field. And that's when everything is in sync. That's when everything works. But when Rico Dowdle is held to 0 pumps and 53 yards in a game, ain't working. That ain't what they're looking for here.
No. And to your point, too, like last year, when you got into the second half of the season, you did see them push it downfield a little bit more. So I think it's something that is very possible in this offense. David Moore told me today, he said, we've got the quarterback, we've got the play calling, we've got the receivers to do this. It's just a matter of doing it. Last year, you had Adam Thielen for a lot of those plays. Who steps up this year to kind of take that role and say, I'm going to be there anytime you need me? You're seeing T-Mac still kind of figure out some stuff in the NFL. He's so good. He's really, really good at the hard catches. They just kind of need him to be great at the easy catches. And you're seeing him definitely get there. But there is still a little ways to go. You're seeing Leggett try to get open more. Like there's still some, to David Moore, to quote David Moore again, like all the pieces are there. Now it's a matter of figuring out how this particular group works together. And then again, who's going to step up and kind of take on that Adam Thielen role of being there when a play has to get made.
Yeah, no doubt. But we could spend all day digging into the details of yesterday's game. But who wants that?
Right.
Not a lot of people. I mean, because it did not go the way they had hoped. I think more than anything else, and I have prepared. I do some graphic design work on the side. Not many people know this.
I'm so scared about what he's about to show.
That's right. I've done some graphic design work. I don't know if you can read this on the screen.
I can.
What does it say, Cassidy?
It says 2 and 15, 5 and 12, 5 and 5.
Huh. Do those numbers mean anything?
That is 2023, 2024, 2025.
Oh, yeah. Things are getting better, gang. Things are normalizing, to use one of my favorite football words. Things are normalizing to the point where the Carolina Panthers win games and lose games for specific and tangible reasons. Not because everything's out here and, things are getting weird. The Carolina Panthers are winning and losing games for reasons we can define and draw boxes around. And yesterday they lost a game because the New Orleans Saints were determined to not let Rico Dowdle run on them, and they did not. I kind of laughed. I couldn't help but laugh when Rico was describing it after the game, and he was like, heavy boxes right from the start, safeties dropping in out the sky. And it's like the Saints paratroopers were coming in, and they were determined. I mean, it was as obvious an intent of a defensive game plan as I've seen. And Demario Davis, really good at his job. That guy's been giving the Carolina Panthers a pain in the neck for a long time. Cam Jordan, they've got dudes on that side of the ball still. And that's why when you knew that they were going to be that intent to stop the run, they had the people to do it, and they did it. But on the whole, when you look at what's happened this season, simply having found that how, knowing your platform, knowing what's got to happen, and then achieving it as often as not. I mean, guys, this is different. And I love the fact that the Carolina Panthers can leave a game and people be angry that it didn't go the way it went half the time.
Yeah.
Because that ain't 5-12, and it certainly ain't 2-15 from a couple years ago. The progress that's been made to get to this point, as difficult as yesterday was to stomach, and again, my wife, and I just looked at her, I said, 2-15, 5-12, 5-5. She's like, I don't want to hear that right now. Nobody wanted to hear that Sunday night in the aftermath. But now that we're here on Monday and things have calmed down, we can accept the fact that, okay, things are getting better systemically. Now, there are problems to fix in the short term, but I was talking to Austin Corbett about it today, just in general terms in the locker room. He was around here in 2023 when they played so many different combinations of linemen, and it never worked. I mean, they played 7 different left guards, 8 different right guards. I can say that by memory because I lived it, and they gave up 65 sacks that year. This year, they've played 8 combinations of starting linemen in 10 games, and it hasn't been this big disaster movie of a situation with the offensive line because those guys have all been here. I mean, it was 8 combinations on Sunday, but it was 8 combinations of dudes who have all been here at least 2 years, some of them 4 and 5. So when you play a new combination of people, and it includes Icky and Timo and Cade Mays and Austin and Damian Lewis, that's so much better than anything they saw in 23 when everything was getting a little weird. That allows things to stabilize a little bit. And I'll be interested to see as this thing goes on what that stabilization looks like.
Right. And, we've said, to talking about being stable, we've said, too, from the beginning, like, you've got a coach, a GM, and a quarterback that are on the same timeline and how much of a difference that makes. I mean, you look around the NFL just even today and see other teams kind of having to reset. And you can tell that this is still a building process, but one that is actively getting built. And at times that's tough. Anytime you're kind of setting a standard and building a team, there's going to be games you lose that you should win. There's going to be games you win that you should lose. And then it's going to be, what do you do with the others? And I think the last 2 weeks might have been an example of that. So it's like, okay, well, now you've got another one coming up. What are you going to do with one? You know how they're saying baseball, like you lose 50, you win 50. It's what you do with the other 50.
That's right.
Even though I know that math is not right.
That's Kassidy math.
Yeah. You're going to win some you're supposed to lose. You're going to lose some you're supposed to win. What do you do with the others?
Yeah.
And that starts this week. You've still got a lot of division games in front of you.
I mean, the other thing that brought it into relief for me last night when I get home from the game, because I tell you, one of the things that happens to me on game days is somebody will say, did you see what the Cowboys did? Did you see what the Giants did? Did you see
No.
Nope. Didn't see any of that.
Yeah.
Saw everything the Carolina Panthers did right here in front of this giant window.
I will say, I was paying attention to the Patriots-Bucks score.
Yeah, and that's fair. And that one went the way the Carolina Panthers wanted it to.
Yeah.
But when I get home and look at those scores and you realize, oh, the Bucks lost. Oh, the Buffalo Bills lost to the Miami Dolphins. You realize games like this, because we're so hyper-focused on what happens right here in front of our face, in the global perspective of the NFL, stuff like this happens. There's weirdness every week. I mentioned last night, I woke up Sunday morning, and the Carolina Panthers were a game and a half out of first in the NFC South, and if the season ended at that moment, they would have been picking 16th in the draft. Last night when I went to bed, Carolina Panthers were a game and a half out of first place in the NFC South, and they'd be picking 16th in the draft. Its season ended right now. And it's just it wasn't what they wanted, but no real yardage was lost on the whole. I mean, the stuff they're trying to improve, and again, no one has set playoffs or anything like that as a benchmark for this season, because this season's been about improvement. This season's been about stabilizing and finding that how I was talking about, and that's still there. I mean, the football has gotten so much better, it's hard to imagine what we were looking at this time last year.
Yeah, I mean, if you're walking away from a 17-7 loss that puts you at 5-5 in the middle of the season and you're mad, that means you're getting to a place where you're expecting to win, and that's what you, if nothing else, 30,000-foot view, that's what you want.
Yeah, and listen, it's going to be interesting to see the way this develops over the next couple weeks. They've got a 3-week sprint to the bye week, 2 of them on the road starting this week in Atlanta. We'll see our old friends from the Falcons down there in a couple of days. Then you go to San Francisco. Speaking of old friends, Christian McCaffrey and the 49ers on Monday Night Football in a couple of weeks before you come back to this building and get the red-hot
tough one.
Los Angeles Rams. And nobody really wants to run into Matt Stafford and the Rams right now.
Right.
But at the same time, a lot can happen. If you're telling me the Carolina Panthers are 6-7 or 7-6 at that point, I'd be like, okay, sure. Sounds about right. It's the how they're getting there that's going to be the question. So once they get to that point, there's going to be another reset. There's finally going to be a bye week, and we need a bye week, friends.
Yeah.
We could really use a chance to breathe for a second, because we're now 10 weeks into this deal, and there are another however many. What did I just say?
We got 3 games to go.
3 games to go
week.
Before the bye. We're all going to be doing Kassidy math here pretty soon.
Yeah.
So I tease her about math. She can do math. She really can. I've seen her do it.
Well, I did one yesterday that I was like, oh, that was right.
You should stop. You are a capable woman who is doing
I have many
great
fine
work here.
qualities. Math
That's
is
right.
just not one of them.
Well, sometimes it is and sometimes it isn't. But anyway, the Carolina Panthers got 3 to go before they get to that bye week. And then at that point, we'll see. Yeah. I mean, if they are sitting here 6-7, 7-6, guess what? There's going to be meaningful games in December. And it's been a minute since we've said
3
that,
division
too.
games after the bye week.
So 3 division games after the bye week. Seattle coming in here for a game that could end up being played in prime time for a big old audience. So a lot of exciting stuff in front of them. Was that game yesterday what they wanted? It was not. Is it the end of the season? Also no. So we will reset. We'll get back into this thing later on this week. By the time we see you on Thursday, they will be fully moved on to the Atlanta Falcons and getting ready for Week 11. We'll break it down for you. There's a lot of stuff coming your way between now and then, so keep it locked on the team's YouTube channel. Keep it on Panthers.com for all the latest stuff. For our friends at Deep Eddy, for Podcast Matt and his adorable baby who he's trying to get home and see right now, except we're keeping him overtime. We'll see you Thursday on the next Happy Half Hour.